She stood at the altar wearing diamonds worth more than some people's homes. But when she saw the groom's family walk in, the ones she thought weren't good enough, her smile cracked. And in front of God, cameras, and 100 witnesses, she dropped the bouquet and walked away. What she didn't know was that the family she humiliated that day would one day hold the power to decide her fate. This is untold justice, where pride shatters, truth rises, and the people you look down on might be the ones you end up needing the most. If you believe nobody deserves to be judged for where they come from, like this video, subscribe, and stay with us. Sometimes karma has better aim than any of us. Elena Ward grew up in wealth that echoed through her every step. Marble floors, private drivers, trust funds, and a mother who raised her like a trophy polished daily. Her father owned half the businesses downtown. Her mother ran charity galas where the guest list mattered more than the cause. And Eleanor, she had never known a world where her last name didn't open doors for her. Until she met him. Marcus Shaw. A quiet, soft-spoken black man with gentle eyes and a heart that made her feel seen instead of displayed. They met in college, she studying business administration, he working 2 jobs to pay his tuition. He didn't come from money, he came from grit, from a neighborhood where hope had to fight to breathe, but Eleanor loved him, or she thought she did. Until her mother reminded her of their kind of life, and Eleanor remembered the pressures that came with her last name. Still, Marcus believed love was enough, even when the wedding planning revealed cracks. Marcus wanted to introduce their families properly. His mother, Denise Shaw, was a school bus driver with tired knees and a smile that hid the years she sacrificed to raise her son. His younger brother, Trey, was studying welding, hands forever rough, but heart forever loyal. They showed up to the dinner dressed in their very best, iron-pressed shirts, polished shoes, and humble confidence. But the moment they walked in, Eleanor's mother's nose scrunched like she smelled something sour. Eleanor tried to ignore it, tried to focus on Marcus's hand squeezing hers gently under the table, but she overheard whispers. "They're so basic. What will people think at the wedding? Eleanor deserves better." Marcus heard them too, but he swallowed the pain, because love, he believed, could soften even the sharpest hearts. He was wrong. The venue was everything Eleanor's mother wanted. Grand, expensive, dramatic, white roses everywhere, crystal chandeliers, a string quartet playing softly. Marcus arrived with trembling hands, nervous but excited. His mother hugged him. "You're starting a new chapter, baby," she whispered. "We're proud of you." The guests filled the seats, the music swelled, and then the Shaw family walked in, not fancy, not wealthy, just dressed in love and sincerity. People stared, some whispered, others judged with their eyes. Elena turned, saw them, and her face changed, not into fear, into shame. Shame of them, shame of what people would say, shame of how they didn't fit the picture she wanted to paint. Her mother leaned in and hissed, "Eleanor, you don't have to go through with this." Marcus saw the exchange, saw Eleanor's hands shake, saw her chest tighten. But he didn't expect what came next. In front of everyone, Eleanor let the bouquet fall. She stepped back and whispered, "I can't do this." Marcus's heart cracked loud enough for heaven to hear. His mother gasped. Guests covered their mouths. Eleanor continued, voice trembling. "It's not you, it's just your family doesn't fit my life. I'm sorry." Marcus dropped his ring box. It hit the ground with a sound he would never forget. His brother grabbed his shoulder, but Marcus stood frozen, betrayed by the woman he planned to marry, judged by the people he tried so hard to impress. Eleanor turned and walked away. And Marcus? He walked out a different man than the one who walked in. He walked out harder, colder, wiser. He would never let anyone humiliate his family again. Years later, Eleanor married someone else, a wealthy man her family approved of. But wealth couldn't buy love, and glamour couldn't buy peace. Her marriage crumbled in 2 years. Her father's company took a major hit. Her mother's reputation faded. Debts piled. She went from private jets to praying rent didn't bounce. Life humbled her with the same force she once used to judge others. And the worst part, she never stopped thinking about Marcus, the one man who truly loved her before she traded love for a last name on a guest list. One morning, Elena walked into a corporate building for a meeting she desperately needed. Her company was failing. She needed a partnership, someone with influence, resources, and reputation to save what little she had left. The receptionist smiled politely. "Ma'am, the executive will see you shortly." Eleanor smoothed her blazer nervously, her palms sweaty, her heart pounding. The elevator opened. She heard footsteps, slow, confident, familiar. She looked up and froze. It was Marcus, older, stronger, successful, surrounded by respect and authority. Now the CEO, now the man whose name opened doors, the man she walked away from at the altar. Marcus paused, recognized her, and his expression shifted into something unreadable. Eleanor felt her knees weaken as reality crashed down on her. The man she humiliated years ago was now the man with the power to decide whether she rose or fell. He stepped closer, eyes calm but cold. "Elena Ward," he said slowly, "what brings you here?" She swallowed hard. I need your help." Marcus stared at her with the weight of every wound she ever gave him. Then he said, "You're going to tell me everything, but first." He opened the boardroom door. Inside sat Denise Shaw, Marcus's mother. Eleanor's face drained. Marcus whispered, "Today, you'll learn what family really means." Eleanor's heels echoed like guilt across the polished floor as she stepped into the boardroom. The room felt colder than she remembered Marcus ever being. Denise Shaw sat at the far end of the table. Age in her eyes, wisdom in her posture, and a quiet strength no wealth could manufacture. Eleanor froze. "Mrs. Shaw, I didn't know you'd be here." Denise looked at her without blinking, a stare Eleanor remembered from years ago, the same one she avoided when she dropped the bouquet and walked away. Marcus stepped beside his mother. "Eleanor," he said, calm as a closed door, "have a seat." She obeyed, unsure if she was walking into a meeting or a reckoning. Marcus didn't sit right away. He circled the table slowly, fingers brushing the surface, measuring her fear the way she once measured his worth. Finally, he spoke. "Why are you here, Elena?" Her throat tightened. "My family's company is failing. We need a strategic partner, and your corporation, your influence, could help us survive." Marcus nodded once. "So you want me to save you?" Elena winced. "I want a chance to make things right." Denise spoke for the first time. "Make things right?" Her voice was steady. "You had a chance years ago." Eleanor lowered her gaze. "I was young. I was pressured. I let my mother's voice matter more than my heart." Denise leaned forward. "No, you let your pride matter more than my son." Silence swallowed the room. Marcus finally sat. "Elena, do you know what happened after you walked out?" She didn't answer, so he told her. "My brother Trey had to drag my mother out of that chapel because she collapsed. She cried for weeks." Denise blinked hard, refusing to let tears fall now. "Trey got into fights protecting our name in the neighborhood. People mocked us, mocked Marcus." Marcus continued, "I couldn't sleep. I questioned my own worth. I wondered what part of me wasn't good enough for you." Eleanor's eyes filled with tears. "I never meant to." Marcus cut her off gently. "Intentions don't erase consequences." He leaned back, crossing his arms. "Your family destroyed mine that day." Eleanor choked on her apology. The words didn't know where to land. Marcus folded his hands. "So, you need help?" Elena nodded. Desperate. Marcus's voice dropped into a tone Elena didn't recognize. The old Marcus would have said yes immediately. The man who stood at that altar believed in forgiveness more than himself. He paused. But the man sitting in front of you now has learned what real value looks like. Elena felt tiny. Marcus tapped the table. I looked into your company before this meeting. Your debt isn't your only problem. Elena swallowed. What else? Your mother. Elena froze. Marcus continued. She's still trying to control everything, still making enemies, still treating people like stepping stones. Denise nodded. We've heard how she's spoken to staff, how she treats investors, how she treats people who aren't on her level. Eleanor whispered, I can't control her. Marcus leaned forward. And that's the problem. His eyes sharpened. I won't partner with anyone who still allows the same influence. That ruined my family. Eleanor felt her chest tighten. So you're saying, no? Marcus stood. I'm saying this. If you want my help, you'll have to prove you're not the same woman who walked away from me because of where I came from. Elena exhaled shakily. How? What do you want me to do? Marcus looked at her long enough to make her nervous. Then he said, You're going to work in one of my community centers, the one in the neighborhood I grew up in. Elena blinked. What? You want redemption? Earn it. Denise crossed her arms. You'll have to learn what real struggle looks like. Her voice was calm. And who real people are. Elena felt heat rush up her neck. I'm not qualified to... Marcus interrupted. You're qualified to judge people. Now you'll learn how to help them. He stepped closer. 3 months, you show up every day, you serve, you listen, you learn. No assistance, no shortcuts, no privilege. Eleanor's lips trembled. And if I do that, Marcus nodded, then your company will survive. Eleanor inhaled, then whispered, I'll do it. Marcus studied her. You sure? She met his eyes. Yes, I owe you more than an apology. Marcus finally turned away, signaling the meeting was done. But Denise didn't move. She watched Eleanor with a stare that pierced deeper than anger. We'll see, she murmured. As Eleanor walked out of the boardroom, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She opened it. A single photo loaded. Her mother standing with a man Eleanor didn't recognize. A man wearing a Shaw Industries badge. Before Eleanor could process it, another message appeared. Your mother has already made her move, and Marcus doesn't know yet. Her heart dropped. She typed quickly. Who are you? What's happening? The reply came instantly. If you want to save everything, you better act fast. Your mother isn't the only threat. Eleanor's breath shattered, and then, meet me tonight, before Marcus finds out. And when Eleanor stepped into that shadowy meeting place later that night, she discovered a truth colder than the wedding aisle she once abandoned. Her mother wasn't trying to save her. She was trying to destroy Marcus, again. Elena stood outside the abandoned parking garage, the one the anonymous text instructed her to meet at. The wind scraped against her skin. Her nerves trembled in her throat. A figure stepped out from behind a concrete pillar. A man, tall, wearing a hood, face half hidden. Are you Eleanor? He asked quietly. She nodded, gripping her purse tighter. Who are you? She whispered. The man pulled down his hood, revealing a familiar face Eleanor hadn't seen in years. Trey Shaw, Marcus's younger brother. Her breath caught. Trey, she gasped. He nodded once. We need to talk. Trey's presence alone felt like judgment. He folded his hands inside his pockets, eyes sharp. I didn't message you to threaten you, he began. I messaged you because Marcus won't listen to me right now. Why? What's happening? Trey sighed. There's a mole inside Shaw Industries, a senior executive working with your mother. Eleanor's stomach twisted. My mother wouldn't... Don't lie to yourself, Trey warned softly. You know what she's capable of. You know what she believes. Eleanor swallowed thickly. Trey stepped closer. The man in that photo with her, that's Richard Cole, head of compliance. He has access to internal documents, contracts, security logs, things that can destroy the company. Eleanor felt her knees weaken. Trey, I swear I didn't know. I didn't ask her to do anything. Trey's stare didn't soften. I believe you. Marcus might not. Her chest tightened. You came alone? Trey asked. Yes. No bodyguards, no driver. No. He nodded. Good. That means you're serious about fixing this. Eleanor inhaled shakily. What do I need to do? Trey's voice lowered. You need to tell Marcus the truth about your mother, about Richard Cole, about anything you know. Eleanor trembled. He won't listen. He barely looked at me today. He'll listen, Trey said softly, if the truth comes from you. She didn't trust her voice. Trey added, Marcus isn't the same man he was at the altar, but he's still a man who values honesty. Don't let this blow up in his face. Then he turned to walk away. Eleanor grabbed his arm desperately. Trey, why are you helping me? Trey paused, his jaw tightened. Because despite everything you did, Marcus still loved you. The words shattered her. And if this ruins him, it'll ruin all of us. Trey pulled away and disappeared into the night. Eleanor stood frozen, heart pounding with shame, fear, and a truth she couldn't shake. The man she once humiliated might be the only person left who could save her family. And she might be the only one who could save his. Marcus's office was quiet when Elena walked in. Too quiet. He didn't look up. You're early, he said simply. Elena swallowed. I need to tell you something. Marcus finally raised his eyes, cold, unreadable. I already know, he said. Her heart dropped. You know about the mole? She whispered. Marcus didn't blink. No, I know you never intended to take that community assignment seriously. Eleanor stiffened. That's not true. Then why did you run to that meeting last night? Marcus asked. Her breath caught. How did you… Marcus leaned back calmly. I have security notifications on all shore properties. The parking garage is one of them. Eleanor felt the room tilt. So, you saw me meet Trey? Marcus nodded. And now I want to know why. His voice was low, controlled. But underneath, Eleanor heard hurt, caution, and the ache of a man who had learned not to trust easily. Eleanor took a deep breath and told him everything. The secret photo, her mother's involvement, Richard Cole's betrayal, Trey's warning. Marcus didn't say a word until she finished. Then he stood, walked to the window, and whispered, Your mother has been trying to destroy my company for years. Eleanor stepped back in shock. My mother? But why? Marcus finally turned to her. His voice was ice. Because after you left me, she made sure no other investor touched anything associated with my last name. Eleanor's knees buckled. She did what? Marcus nodded. She tried to bury me, same way you did. Eleanor covered her mouth, tears forming. Marcus, I didn't know, I swear. He studied her. Maybe not, he said softly. But now you do. Marcus walked toward her slowly, not angry but decisive. You want to fix this? He asked. Eleanor nodded, wiping tears. Yes. Then fire your mother. Eleanor's blood went cold. Marcus, she's the majority shareholder of my family's company. I know. If I remove her, I lose everything. Marcus stepped closer. Eleanor, you lost me once because you let her define your choices. He paused. Now you have a chance to choose for yourself. Eleanor stared at him, trembling. Are you asking me to destroy my mother? Marcus's eyes hardened. No, I'm asking you to stop letting her destroy everyone else. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I don't know if I can… Before she finished, Marcus's phone buzzed. He looked down, and his face changed, completely. Elena, he whispered, voice suddenly dark. Your mother just walked into my building. Elena froze. With Richard Cole. Elena's breath shook. Marcus continued. They're headed to my office. Footsteps echoed down the hall outside. Marcus's jaw clenched. This is it. The doorknob turned. Elena whispered, Oh God, Marcus, what is she doing? Marcus inhaled deeply. Time to find out. The door began to open. The door swung wide. Mrs. Ward stepped in first. Elegant, expensive, dripping superiority like perfume. Richard Cole entered behind her, stiff and nervous. Eleanor's heart slammed against her ribs. "Mother, what are you doing here?" she whispered. Mrs. Ward didn't look at her, not even once. Her gaze landed directly on Marcus. "Mr. Shaw," she said coolly, "let's discuss your little company problem." Marcus didn't move. "Elena told me everything," he replied calmly. Mrs. Ward's eyes narrowed, only for a moment. "Oh, sweetheart," she scoffed, looking at Elena with pity. "You still believe you can trust this man?" Elena stepped back as if slapped. "Mother, this isn't about trust. This is about what you're doing." Mrs. Ward raised her chin. "What I'm preventing," she corrected sharply, "is you tying your future to a family that will never rise above their station." Richard shifted anxiously. Marcus's jaw locked. "You're here to destroy me," he said quietly. Mrs. Ward lifted a brow. "Destroy you?" "Marcus, dear, I'm here to correct a mistake." Marcus stood now, slowly. "What mistake is that?" Mrs. Ward's voice was ice. "The mistake my daughter made when she let herself believe that love could compensate for lineage." Eleanor gasped. "Mother, stop!" But Mrs. Ward kept going, like cruelty was a language she spoke fluently. "You were never her equal, Marcus. Not in money, not in status, not in legacy." Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't break his calm. He simply said, "And yet, my family showed her more love than you ever did." Mrs. Ward's face twitched. A hit, direct and unmistakable. Richard Cole stepped forward hesitantly. "Mrs. Ward, maybe we should just leave the documents." Mrs. Ward cut him off sharply. "No, I want him to see exactly what he lost." She opened her bag, pulled out an envelope, and tossed it onto Marcus's desk. Inside were signed statements, fabricated accusations, forged trails, evidence staged to sink his company from within. Marcus didn't touch it. He only stared at her, long and silent. Eleanor looked at the papers, horrified. "Mother, how could you do this? This is illegal." Mrs. Ward shrugged. "Illegal is just a word poor people use when they run out of power." Eleanor's stomach twisted. That sentence, that arrogance, shook something loose inside her that she didn't know she'd been holding together. "Mother," Elena whispered, voice trembling with hurt, "you sent me away from Marcus on our wedding day because you didn't like his family." Mrs. Ward smiled coldly. "I saved you from a lifetime of mediocrity." "And now," Elena stepped forward, "you're destroying a man who did nothing to you." Mrs. Ward didn't blink. "He did something to me the moment he thought he was worthy of you." Marcus inhaled slowly through his nose, controlled rage simmering beneath restraint. A voice echoed from the doorway. "That's enough." Everyone turned. Denise Shaw, Marcus's Elena, froze. "Mrs. Shaw, I didn't know you were here." Denise walked in slowly. She didn't look at Elena. She didn't look at Richard. She went straight to Mrs. Ward. "My son loved your daughter," Denise said, voice trembling with strength. "He waited years for her, prayed for her, never blamed her for that day." Mrs. Ward scoffed. "Emotion doesn't build a legacy." "No," Denise whispered, "but integrity does." Mrs. Ward stepped toward her with disdain. "And what would you know about legacies?" Denise didn't back down. "I know that a family isn't measured by money, but by how they treat people." The room went still. Denise continued, "And I also know something else, that every lie you've spun, every knife you've thrown at my son, is about to fall apart." Mrs. Ward frowned. "What are you talking about?" A deep voice answered from behind her. "She's talking about me." Mrs. Ward turned and froze. Trey Shaw stepped into the office, holding a folder. Mrs. Ward's eyes widened. No, not him, not now. The scandal exposed Trey opened the folder and tossed the contents onto the desk. It was a printed email chain from Richard Cole to Mrs. Ward, discussing payments, sabotage plans, and a full breakdown describing how to frame Marcus for incompetence during merger negotiations. Richard's face turned ghostly white. "Where did you— Trey, how—" Trey smirked. "Marcus isn't the only one with access to company records." Mrs. Ward lunged toward the papers. Trey stepped in front of her. "Touch it, and I'll drag you out of this building myself." Mrs. Ward's face collapsed into fury. You little—" But Marcus raised a hand. "Enough." Mrs. Ward turned. Marcus's eyes were colder than she'd ever seen. "You came here to end me," he said, "but all you did was expose yourself." Mrs. Ward's voice shook with panic now. "Marcus, listen." "No," he said softly. "You listen." He leaned forward. "For years, I blamed Elena for leaving me at the altar." Elena swallowed, tears flowing silently. "But now," Marcus continued, "now I see the truth." He stared straight into Mrs. Ward. "You manipulated her, controlled her, used her." Mrs. Ward's eyes trembled. Marcus's voice lowered. "You didn't just ruin our wedding, you ruined your daughter." Eleanor broke completely, hand over her mouth, sobbing silently. And for the first time, Mrs. Ward had no words, no control, no power, just silence and shame. Security appeared at the door. Richard bolted, but Trey grabbed him and shoved him back inside. Mrs. Ward's voice cracked. "You can't arrest me. You don't have proof." Trey smirked. "That's the best part." He lifted his phone. "I recorded everything you said." Mrs. Ward's face drained of color. Security moved in. Richard collapsed to his knees. Eleanor covered her face, sobbing. Marcus stepped back, as if distancing himself from the woman he once planned to marry. Mrs. Ward screamed as security escorted her out. "Elena! Elena, tell them to stop! Elena, help me!" Elena didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even look. Her mother's cries faded down the hallway. Silence fell, a heavy, broken silence. Eleanor stood alone in Marcus's office. Trey had left. Security was gone. Richard was being booked. Mrs. Ward was being processed. Denise held her purse tightly, watching quietly with sad compassion. Marcus stood behind his desk, still, unreadable, a fortress Elena no longer had a key to. "Marcus!" Elena whispered, voice cracking. "I'm so sorry." Marcus didn't answer. She stepped closer. "Please," she whispered. "I didn't know she was doing this. I never wanted to hurt you." Marcus finally met her eyes. "Eleanor, you hurt me long before today." Her heart shattered. He continued, "But today, you also helped save me." Eleanor swallowed a sob. "So, what does that mean for us?" Marcus looked away. "I don't know." Silence, fragile, painful. Then Marcus whispered, "Maybe we take this one step at a time." Eleanor nodded slowly, tears falling, but before she could speak, Marcus's office phone rang. He answered. His expression changed instantly. "What? Slow down. What do you mean?" Eleanor's heart froze. Denise stepped forward. "Marcus, baby, what happened?" Marcus dropped the phone. His face went pale. "Eleanor," he whispered, "it's your father." Eleanor felt her body lock. What about my father?" Marcus swallowed hard. "He's missing."